Welcome to Plovdiv, Bulgaria for the European Grand Prix. All important world ranking points are available at this event, and we've got the 4 individual gold medal matches coming right up. I'm Karim Bashir, and joining me for this live coverage is Chef Vandenberg from the Netherlands, a 2-time Olympic semi-finalist. Chef, it's the year after the Olympic Games, but we've only got a short run into Paris 2024. How important are these competitions? And like I say, this is a European Grand Prix.
Yeah, these competitions are really important because you need to utilize the 3 years that you have as efficient as possible. So yeah, you'll see a lot of household names on this competition.
You certainly will, and it's lots more live coverage. One of the silver linings of that dark cloud we've had hanging over us for the last couple of years is that World Archery have innovated and been able to bring more live events from the regions around the world, hence why we're bringing you live coverage from this Grand Prix. And like I say, we have 4 gold medal matches coming up in a jam-packed schedule in the next hour or so. First up will be the compound women's gold medal match between Maria Schulner of Luxembourg and Songül Lok of Turkey. Let's go straight down for the athlete introductions.
On target 1, representing Luxembourg, Maria Schkolna. On target 2, representing Turkey, Songül Lok. Line judge Desislava Vladimiro. Target judge Maureen Kruders.
Well, there we have it. Maria Schulner of Luxembourg is the world number 27 at 24 years old. Is 4 years older than Songül Lok of Turkey, who's the world number 62. You've probably heard on the mics that there's a little bit of wind here. You can see in the background some of these tents are blustering away. I wonder what these conditions are going to be like. 15 arrows, a cumulative score. The archer with the highest score will take gold at this European Grand Prix, and it's Schkolner to get us underway.
Nine.
Both low left to start with.
So very good grouping already. So I wonder if she'll adjust her sight. Yeah, there she goes.
9.
Same goes for her, also adjusting her sight.
10.
Got a bit of a longer hold there from Lok, but you probably could hear the wind blowing. So a couple of things, Chef. We don't have much time in between these ends in compound archery. She shot over 50 meters. The agents down there clearing the targets. So first things first, you talked about grouping and changing sights. Tell us, just explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, so you could see that both archers had a first arrow that hit in a certain place, and the second arrow was right next to it. So that's the beginning of a group of arrows. The group is, you're able to move the group by moving your sight. So if you move your sight, your aiming is different. You have to move your hand to still aim in the middle. And that will eventually, if you're at some sort of level, then you will be able to hit the middle. So yeah, the sight is a wonderful little tool to hit the middle.
So grouping good, and then you just want to move it into the center of the target, I think is
it all starts with
a good
grouping.
signal. Yeah, so good start from the pair of them. All tied up, subject to referee calling this, but I think that's already been called. 28 apiece, and the scores just build up through this match.
Nine.
So mini advantage for Lock.
It's a bit far to the left. All of our arrows have hit left from center so far, but that one has gone out of the gold, which is maybe due to the wind, but definitely something that she should try to correct with this arrow.
10.
That's better.
Well, you could see the wind blowing there, that dropping down into the 8. So 55 apiece. So this was my second question. Like I said, Chef, we don't have much time in between the ends. But the second question was about the wind, and it's blustery. So I suppose the first thing is there an element of luck here when you're standing on the shooting line that your opponent may have no wind, and then all of a sudden you get a massive gust and
yeah,
there is
that's definitely something to take into consideration, but yeah, that's just one of the risks of having an outdoor sport. I mean, I think in all outdoor sports, the circumstances and the elements have a little bit of play, and yeah, that's just one of the things you'll have to deal with.
Just another thing these archers have to deal with. I mean, they're shooting 10s so regularly, both in competition and in training. But when you're standing on that shooting line, this comes down to a battle of wits and the ability to control your own emotions. 55 apiece as we go into the third end. Nothing between the pair of them, so it will be Maria Scholner of Luxembourg to shoot again in the third end.
Yeah, and I said that she should correct her left 8, and obviously it's really easy for us sitting here in our chairs to say that, but I've been there on the line, and it's not always as easy as it looks from the TV screen. So
9.
I'm sure she's doing a better job than I would have.
Well, I'm not sure about that. 2-time Olympic semi-finalist giving us his expert opinion here.
9.
Still nothing between them at the moment.
There's surprisingly little side turning going on the side of Lock. She has a pretty good group on the left bottom of the target, or of the gold, I should say. But she didn't move her side after that arrow, or she might have done it after they switched camera. But
10.
so mostly on the low side and often left, but
9.
182 obviously can be succumbed here. 84 possible, but she's gone into the 8 as well. So, are we seeing a case of, as I always say, Chef, the archery to me is someone who doesn't shoot regularly. I've had a little go. I'm not quite as good as you. I think that's probably a little bit of an understatement. But it's a game of opportunity and then taking that opportunity. So the opportunity, when it arises, has to be something that's taken. Now, often you guys say, well, we don't even know the opportunity's there, but it seemed like Sungul Lock did know there was a chance to take a lead there.
Yeah, I think she might have noticed, but in archery, you cannot really change anything about your opponent. It's not like a sport that's a 1v1 where there's tactics involved. It is 1v1, but essentially you're shooting against yourself and trying to get the highest level possible for yourself. And in essence, it doesn't matter what the opponent's doing because you're trying to hit the middle. So of course she had an opportunity, but it shouldn't matter. Let's put it that way.
It shouldn't matter indeed. We shall come back to that, Chef, because there's nothing between these two. Tight match, 82 apiece. We go into the fourth end, and it's back to Maria Skolna of Luxembourg. Longer hold.
9.
Not sure if it paid off. I think it's right outside of the 10.
9.
Still both making little adjustments.
Yeah, finally, I would say on this account of lock.
10.
There you go. So you can see that Skolna has a pretty round group with the center somewhere within the 10 ring, where Lock has a,
X.
I think maybe even better group size, but it's just slightly left and slightly low. So the fact that she moved her side, I think, is a very smart move.
Longer hold for Skolna this time. Oh, I think that's just outside. It's marked for a measure. So down as 111 on the scoreboard. Could be 110 though. That's definitely a 10 though. Yeah, there you go indeed. So 111 for sure for Lock. Do we think we need a measure here, Chef?
From our perspective, it looks like a 9, but yeah, there's also a weird shadow that is cast over the line, so it's difficult to say. We might have to wait for the judge to.
While we wait for that, Judge, let me go back to what you were saying before because it fascinates me. You're standing there in the Olympic semi-final, number 1 or number 2, you decide. Do you really have no idea what the other person does? You really have no idea that opportunity is there, or that you're leading, or that you're behind?
Yeah, you do have an idea, but you try not to influence or let that influence your shot. So if you're mentally strong, which at some moments I maybe wasn't, or I wouldn't have been a semi-finalist but a finalist, but if you're strong enough, then you should take that information or not hear it, but don't do anything with it. Just fire the same shot that you would always do, because there's no real risk taking or real tactics in archery. You always want to hit the middle. So yeah, you don't need to know what the other person is shooting, and if you do know, you don't need to do anything with it.
Well, there you have it. We go into the 5th set, and as you can see, the scores are level. Arrow was marked up. Three arrows remaining. What a shot from Maria Skolna. A 10 takes her to 1-2-1 and puts the pressure on. Oh, what a reply from Locke. They are all square. Nothing between these two.
They both seem to have found the middle now. And yeah, the first arrow from Maria is a nice marker as well. With the magnification in their scopes, they're able to see the arrow sitting in the target, and it's nice to be aiming at a little spot. Where Locke is again in that left low group, but maybe this was just not as good as a shot as the rest, because the rest of her last couple of arrows were quite centered.
Well, Skolna could put it out of reach here, but there was a big movement, a couple of big movements, a long hold. Oh, and it's just clung on for the 9 for a 140. But what pressure now. Locke needs a 10 to force a shoot off here. Oh, bang on the line. Bang on the line for a 140. 140 apiece. There was nothing between these two, but Chef, we talked about this all the way through. There was a golden opportunity for Maria Skolna with her third arrow, having seen Locke shoot a 10 with a 9 with her second. A 10 would have put it out of reach, and she held
Yeah,
on for ages.
like I said before, it's really easy for us to think like, oh, if she only had shot a 10, then. But you could see that the wind was really blowing her around, and the bow was like I didn't notice any stable moments in her shot. So I think the fact that she kept it within the gold is already an achievement. So there's always two perspectives, and we cannot see what she's seeing in the sight, but. Yeah, I think a shoot off is always exciting for us to watch at least. So
it certainly is. And like you said, there's always two perspectives. But from our perspective, if you're a neutral watching this, what a start to this European Grand Prix here in Bulgaria, in the beautiful city of Plovdiv. We've got Maria Shkolna of Luxembourg, the world number 27, up against Songül Lok of Turkey, the world number 62. They could not be separated until the fifth end, and it went up and down, and they came out after 15 hours, all tied up at 140 apiece. The target faces are being cleaned or replaced, basically clean faces being put onto the target 50 meters down the range, so that we can have a one arrow sudden death shoot off for the compound women's gold medal here at the European Grand Prix. What a start to our live coverage here. What a match between these two. Shkolna had it. She had a chance. She might have another opportunity right here. One arrow closest to the middle takes the gold medal. Who is going to get it? Let's find out. Shkolna to shoot first on target number 1. Well, it's a
really
good
shoot-off arrow.
Yeah, it's a good 10, isn't it, Chef? There's room, though. There is room. Locke hits the 10, but that looks like it's on the 9-10 line. And for me, Shkolna has taken this one. Chef, do you agree?
I do agree. Yeah, this one seems like a pretty clear win for Maria Skolna. And I think if you shoot a 10 in the shoot-off, you don't have yourself to blame. Like, you've shot a good arrow, and that's just bad luck. The opponent just shot a little bit better.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. Maria Shkolna wins the gold medal in the compound women individual event.
Well, there we have it, confirmation in venue that Maria Shkolna of Luxembourg has taken the Plovdiv first stage of the European Grand Prix of 2022. She will be standing on top of the podium a little bit later on, and hopefully we'll get to hear from her as well, perhaps after the next match. But Chef, it was a nervy start from both of them. You talked about the positioning from Locke. She didn't move them early enough, but she did enough to hang on. And to be honest with you, she did great to force the shoot off.
Yeah, she did. And like I said, her group was really, really good. So I think if she would have dared or managed to move her side a bit earlier and trusted her shot enough, I think she could have maybe made the difference in the match. But forcing a shoot off after such a tight match is already a feat that's pretty impressive.
It certainly is. But back to Maria Shkolna, as you said, as I rudely talked over your comment, it was a great great arrow, that first arrow from Shkolna in that shoot off.
Yeah. She if you hit the 10 in the first place, then it's already impressive. Let alone in a shoot off, let alone close to the X ring. So I think she did really well.
Yeah, overall, a deserving champion in Maria Shkolna of Luxembourg. She's taken the compound women's discipline gold medal here at the European Grand Prix in Plovdiv. We move on now to the compound men's gold medal match here in Plovdiv at the 2022 European Grand Prix first leg. Let's go down to the field of play for the athlete introductions.
target 1, representing Turkey, Emircan Hani. On target 2, representing Italy, Leonardo Costantino. Line judge Aurel Robber and target judge Yuri Yogev. First to shoot is Emircan Hani on target.
Well, here we
1.
go. Compound men's gold medal match. Emircan Hani of Turkey, the world number 74, is 21 years old, and he goes up against the 19-year-old Leonardo Constantino of Italy, who hasn't got a world ranking just yet. I fancy he'll have one after today. 15 arrows, highest score takes gold. Emircan Hani of Turkey will get this gold medal match underway.
Nine.
We've seen the archers going low left a lot here, so Leonardo Constantino perhaps came to the field of play knowing that.
X. Nine.
Yeah, most of the archers so far have hit left, as you stated, but they seem to correct their sights quite fast, and like you can see here, they're doing a great job at it.
Drifting off into the 8, and a 2-point deficit isn't that much, but this early on it does put a little bit of pressure on Hani. Chef, anything in particular you saw that third arrow from Hani that made you think, well, that's not going to go where he wants it to?
I think you mean Constantino.
Sorry, Constantino, of course, yes.
Yeah, well, he is shooting a hinge style release, so he's shooting on back tension essentially, and not using his fingers but his whole shoulder and posterior chain. And it's a much different style of shooting than Hani is doing with his trigger. He has a wrist release with a trigger. So rather than making the shot happen yourself by pushing a trigger, he needs to keep pulling with his release in his hand, and the shot has to happen to him rather than making it happen. So in a windy situation, that might mean that if your side drifts off and the shot goes off, then you're caught off guard, and it might drift out of the middle. So it's a bit of a different tactic, which is interesting to see here in this windy venue.
That is a really interesting point. The shot, making it happen or it happening to you. It happened to Constantino, dropped an 8 in the last end. So he shoots first in the second end, trailing by 2. That will give him some confidence.
So you can see the difference here. Constantino is taking his thumb off of his release aid and just gently pulling through the tension of the bow, and then it goes off. Rather than, which works for him apparently, rather than Hani, who has his index finger on his wrist release and just actively pushes the button to make the arrow go.
Perfect, Chef.
So it's two different tactics, but they both work.
Brilliant description there with the pictures showing you everything. That thumb coming off the release, pulling through. You can see the bow moving around. And that's a long hold. Did he get away with that? Big opportunity here for Hani.
Ooh, a bit of a twitch.
Oh. but a perfect 30, and he took that opportunity in a big way. 59 for him. You've talked about the difference between these releases. So why would someone use a release like Constantino that in windy conditions, perhaps,
Well, we've just had a really good example of Hani having a bit of a twitch. I think that it was maybe due to some mental issues, wanting to push the trigger even though he wasn't ready for it yet. So there's this thing, it's also referred to as target panic, where if you shoot a trigger style release, you have to choose yourself how you, or when you shoot the arrow rather. Um, if you don't use it in the way that many people use it, by holding your thumb or index finger on the button and pulling like it would be a hinge style release. So shooting a hinge release takes most of the shooting on command out of the shot, which makes it easier mentally to deal with the pressure and the target panic that you could eventually get.
It's a fascinating sport when you start to drill down into those little details and just go a little bit below the surface. But on the first instance, it sounded like you were saying one trigger was better than the other, and then immediately you come back and say, well, actually, there's the other side of it. Fascinating sport. It's Hani that's leading at the moment, so Constantino of Italy will shoot first in the third.
Nine.
Going low again, so perhaps the wind is just coming at them a little bit more.
9.
Yeah, you can see the bow moving around, and you can see that pretty much everything in the background is moving as they're full drawn. So it's no surprise that they're also under a lot of pressure from the wind. And again, with those twitchy movements.
Did he hit the line?
He did, I think.
They pull these shots off after hanging on for so long. An 84 for Leonardo Constantino. Could be a big lead for Hani here, though.
X.
Puts it into the X as well, so an 88 for him. Well, a 4-point lead more than halfway through the match. Chef, whose shoes would you rather be in?
Well, I think that's a pretty easy question to answer. I would much rather be in the leading section of this match, obviously, but it doesn't have to be over. If you just keep shooting strong shots, you're shooting first if you're trailing, so you can put some pressure on the opponent. And if it's windy, then anything can happen. So yeah, never give up, I would say.
So shooting first, you talked about this before. It can be a little bit of an advantage because you can pile that pressure on, but then you look at the other side of it and say, well, the other guy's not looking at the scores and not looking at what you're doing. Well, it's certainly a good position for Emircan Hani of Turkey, the world number 74, from a country that loves its archery. Italy, of course, have had great success on the field of archery as well. Perhaps not quite the historic nature of the sport in that country, though. Emircan Hani leading. So Leonardo Constantino of Italy, the 19-year-old who is going to be claiming his first medal here, shoots first, trailing by 4. It's the fourth set. He put the pressure on, as we talked about, but then Hani just comes back with an X.
Whoa, that looked like a good shot, but that was just quite unlucky with where it landed, just right out of the 10. But I think at this point he'll need to hit 10s and hope for some mistakes of his opponent. But yeah, if you're hitting like a couple millimeters out of the 10, that's not ideal.
9.
Well, that's more than a couple of millimeters out for a 1-1-2.
10.
And pops it into the 10 for a 117, and things seemingly getting worse for Leonardo Constantino from Italy. Chef, you talked about unlucky. Did that second arrow hit the first one for the Italian?
Not that I saw, but yeah, it might be one of those instances. But typically, it makes a very distinct sound if you break the knock end of your arrow. And I didn't hear the mics pick it up, so yeah, I might have misheard, but it did seem like it went straight into the 9.
Yeah, and you've mentioned this before, but it's worth talking about it again. 50 meters from shooting line to the target. A fraction of a millimeter difference on the shooting line makes centimeters of difference at the target end, right?
Yeah, if you would just hypothetically look at the eye to pin distance, so the distance from your eye to your sight, and say it's 1 meter, then everything is magnified by 50. So if you move your sight 1 millimeter, it's 50 millimeters on the target. Typically, archers don't have a 1 meter distance. It's more like 90 centimeters on average, I think. But just to give you an example, a little movement in your bow hand is a lot of movement on the target. So you have to be super stable or know what to do exactly if your sight is not bang on in the middle.
Well, Leonardo Constantino of Italy has not been bang on in the middle. He's shot an 8 and a few 9s. It's not a bad score at all, but he finds himself 5 points down going into the 5th end, and he will shoot first. He's got a big ask here to turn this one around. That's a great start, though.
Some jar lickers, as some people would say. He's hitting the lines now. I think it's a bit of a karma from last end, where he was just missing the line.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a bit of a slip up.
That certainly is a bit of a slip up. He's just opened the door a little bit. Oh, just gone into the 9 there for a 141. So a 7 to draw level. Anything more and he's got gold.
9.
A 9 is more than enough. A 141 for Emircan Hani of Turkey means he has claimed the 2022 European Grand Prix first leg gold medal here in Plovdiv.
Pretty early call from the target judge, but yet he might be right.
Well, they are just going to go and have a look at this, but looks to me like a very simple victory in the end. He just pulled away after that first set, and it was the difference in the match. It ended up being a 2-point difference by our reckoning. We wait for confirmation, of course, but it makes such a big difference getting off to a good start in compound
Now we
archery.
have the real winner.
Yeah, especially with a cumulative score rather than a set system. It's yeah, you have to start strong. With a set system in recurve archery, you get the chance to come back after a first bad set. If you have 5 ends and it's all cumulative, then you need to start strong and you need to not trail from the beginning. If you do happen to trail from the beginning, you need to shoot even better in the rest of the match. So you need to shoot better than your opponent for the remaining 4 ends. So yeah, there's always that aspect of compound archery.
Well, Emircan Hani of Turkey has claimed the compound men's gold medal here in Plovdiv at the first leg of the European Grand Prix. It was a spectacular performance and an absolutely insightful piece of commentary from Chef Vandenberg talking us through the differences between the techniques of the athletes and what they are going through on the shooting line. I think very soon, we're going to have interviews from both of those gold medal winners. We will wait to see if those come up, but don't go too far anyway, because we've got the recurve women's and men's gold medal matches coming up as well. But let's go down and see if we can hear from our two winners, Maria Skolna of Luxembourg and Emircan Hani of Turkey. We know they're waiting in the wings. Looks like we have got them ready. Let's go and listen to what the gold medal winners have to say.
Congratulations, Aferin, for winning the gold medal. How are you feeling right now?
Teşekkür ederim.
Първата добре ли?
Buraya inanarak çıktım. Birinci olacağımı hissediyordum.
Sen olarak
Doğrultuda kendimi hem mental hem fiziksel olarak hazırladım. Kazandım. Sevinçliyim.
Okay, thank you for that. I was believing in myself and I was feeling that for the winning the gold medal. And I prepared myself from mentally and physically, and it happened, and I win the gold medal.
You had an early lead in the match. How did that make you feel? How was your mental state?
Serilere rahat başlamamı sağladı. Yani önde giderek puan farkını açmak istedim. Bu doğrultuda serilerimi tamamladım, atışlarımı yaptım. Bunun verdiği rahatlıkla da kazandım.
Okay. It made me more relaxed, and I wanted to make it more advantage for myself. After that, I relaxed much more and win the game.
How important is this gold medal for you?
Benim için önümdeki yarışmalarda, dünya kupalarında güzel bir özgüven oldu, güzel bir çizgi yakaladım. Önümdeki bu yarışmalarda, World Cup'larda da aynı şekilde devam etmek istiyorum.
It's about the confidence for me for the next World Cups and the World Championships. This will be very important for me, like for the confidence.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So, congratulations for winning the gold medal. How are you feeling right now?
I feel really great. I think also still the adrenaline didn't left me, but I'm really happy. I'm really excited because I think for me it's for Luxembourg, since I shoot for Luxembourg, is the first time I won the competition on the European level.
It was a very tight match, and you had a shoot-off. What were you thinking during the match and prior to the shoot-off?
So when we speak about the gold medal match, it was a lot of focus was on the wind because it was a little bit tricky. Like it was picking the arrow, not too strong, not strong enough to really aim out every shot. So we had some obviously issues with left and right. But during the shooting, I tried to focus a lot on listening to the wind around, to listen to my coach also, who gave me advices in the full drum. And while the shoot off, it was just focus on one shot, and fortunately it was quiet, so it was just about making one confident shot because the side setup was set up for the X, so it just, you needed to make it. So yes.
How important is this medal to you for now and for the rest of the season?
I think it shows a lot of the work which was done before the competition, so it's a really good sign of the work we did before, and also for the future it gives us also the great confidence and experience for the future matches.
Great, thank you very much.
Well, fitting that she was talking about the win there, Chef, and microphones taking all of it in. But she said she was aiming on target.
The ladies competing for the gold medal in the Recurve women individual event.
We move on now to the Recurve women's competition and the gold medal match here at the European Grand Prix in Plovdiv. We go down to the field of play for the athlete introductions.
On target 1, representing Italy, Chiara Rebariatti. On target 2, representing France, Caroline Lopez. Line judge, Desislava Badinova. Target judge, Marlene Krodes.
Well, here we go.
Will be shooting
Chiara
first
Rebariatti of Italy, the world number 43, is 25 years old, and she goes up against the 18-year-old Caroline Lopez of France, the world number 204. Recurve Archery works on a set system, 15 arrows maximum per archer, but the idea is to win each set. Score the higher points over 3 arrows, and you get 2 set points. If they're all square, it's 1 point apiece. Rebariatti to get us underway.
Ooh, it's the first time we see somebody go all the way to the right. Great correction. Going from the blue to the gold is either a big side setting or a big improvement in your shot. So, and exactly enough to make it a level score.
9.
Well, what a fascinating start to this match.
9.
And all square. So the set points shared here, but Chef, what a start.
Yeah, they're both relatively fast shooting archers, so it feels like it's gone by in a breeze, but the first set was a bit interesting. The first arrow going all the way to the right into the blue, which is, I think, the first blue we have seen in this session. But then going from blue to gold in one arrow, that's yeah, really good.
Yeah, it certainly is. And just to give you a bit of an idea here, Rebariatti is a Tokyo 2020 Olympian, a 2-time Hyundai Archery World Cup Circuit team gold medalist. But Caroline Lopez is part of this emerging group of recurve archers in the women's discipline coming out of France, being led by Lisa Barbaland, a 2021 World Youth Champion, was part of the team that took the bronze medal at the World Championships last year, and has bags and bags of confidence and great character on the shooting line. So 2 athletes that really have great stories behind them. Nothing between them at the moment, 1 apiece in terms of the set points. We move on to the second set, and it will be the Italian to shoot first again. Just hear that wind picking up, but nothing between them again after the first of their 3 arrows.
And what was really impressive about the shot of Lopez is that she was blown out of her line, as I would call it. So her left arm was blown to the right, or maybe the wind fell away, and she came out of her line, which decreased her draw length, and then she had to win all of that draw length back. Unfortunately, this arrow she couldn't. But yeah, there's if your hand gets blown to the left as a right-handed archer, it's easier to manage your draw length because you extend. Whereas if it blows to the right, or if the wind is blowing to the left and suddenly drops, you're going to the right with your hand, which decreases your draw length, and that means that you have to pull back even more to get back to your point of clicker.
Yeah, and that second arrow making a massive difference for Caroline Lopez. An opportunity that was taken by Rebegliati of Italy, and subject to confirmation, I think she's going to go 3-1 up here in this gold medal match at the European Grand Prix. So you're talking about relative position, aren't you, when you're talking about your hand being blown around the place?
Yeah. So basically, your right hand as a right-handed archer is against your jaw, and it's in this fixed position. But your left hand can be blown in different directions, and because your shoulder is basically straight between your left hand and your right shoulder, if your hand moves, then it also means that your draw length changes. So it's something that not everybody takes into account, but it's not only aiming, but also your draw length that changes when you're being blown around.
Yeah. Think about a coiled spring. That's probably the best way to consider it if you haven't shot one of these amazing bows. 3-1 it is, and Lopez trailing will shoot first in the 4th, and she's straight into the 10.
It was a bit of a calmer moment, but she maybe enjoyed it a little too much by just aiming and relaxing through the shot, which led her to shoot a very slow shot, like slower than her normal rhythm that we've seen so far. And again, quite a slow shot, and I feel like her fast-paced shots are hitting better, and they go off her fingers. The string leaves her fingers a bit more smooth or supple.
Well, whatever happens with this third shot, and of course Rebegliati will want this one to be in the centre, which I mean, it's 3/8 is not what she was looking for, but it does mean that we have a tied-up match again. Lopez taking advantage of that opportunity. So you just felt that what she relaxed. You say relaxed too much?
Yeah, there was a bit of a calmer moment. The wind kind of dropped, and she had a good moment to shoot. But then, because you're used to having to shoot fast or having to wait because of the wind, maybe she was like, it's nice that the wind has dropped, so I can take my time this shot and just shoot it like I would normally shoot it. But the danger of that is that you won't, or you're not strong enough in your shot, and you make some minor mistakes that make them go out of the goal.
First on target 1.
Well, 3 apiece between the pair of them, Rebegliati and Lopez. They'll go into a 4th set here. Nothing between them.
Chiara's had some words from her coach, Natalia Valeva, which is one of the most decorated female archers of all time. So maybe that paid off.
We're about to find out. She starts with a 9 in set number 4. Can Lopez build on the momentum of the last set? And she can with a 10.
she's really steady. Like she doesn't make big mistakes, but she's just not hitting the 10 ring, and Lopez is. So that might just make the difference in this set.
Well, she could do with a 10 here, the Italian, to put some pressure on. Looks like it's another 9. So can she get into the lead here? An 8 will do it. It's a 9. It's enough. A 29 then, and Lopez comes from 3-1 behind to lead by 5 points to 3. And crucially, critically, that means that Lopez just has to match Rebigliati in the next set to take the gold medal. Chef, how much can you relax and just get into your own process when you know that all you have to do is just level up with your opponent?
It's essentially the same as when you're trailing. It doesn't really matter if you're ahead or if you're trailing. You want to make your own shots. It does breathe some confidence, so you can think like, okay, no matter what I do, I'll just try to make my best shot, because if I mess this one up, I still get a chance in the shoot-off. But if you're doing it well, and if you're in a good mental state, then you'll just try to do as well as possible anyways.
Well, this is the fascinating part of archery. Lopez, the 18-year-old, leading, shoots second, so it's Chiara Rebigliati, who had an early lead, now shoots first, trailing, and into the 9. Does Lopez see that as an opportunity? Oh, she's doing her job. All she has to do is match her.
Finally, she hits the 10. Before this shot, she had 1 6, 3 8s, and the rest of them were 9s. So I think it's a well hoped for 10.
Well, there's a 6 from Lopez.
Yeah, I could just hear the wind. I think that played a factor in that one.
So 27 set by Rebigliati cannot be matched now because of that 6, and she puts it into an 8 for a 23, her lowest score of the match so far. So after the regulation 5 sets, we're all square at 5 sets apiece, and as a neutral, Chef, you and I are both neutrals in this one. It's a fantastic finish to the match, because we're going to have the target faces cleaned off. We're going to have brand new faces put on, so we don't have all those holes in from the previous arrows, because we're going to a 1 arrow shoot off.
Yeah.
With the wind conditions here, is this a bit of a lottery?
It could be. It doesn't have to be. So if there is a big change in, or a big difference in how much wind there is for which archer, then yeah, it can be a bit unfair. But yeah, you can also, in the wind, you can also still shoot it right down the middle. So there's not really, it's not really a lottery. There's still very much some skill involved.
Of course, there's skill involved, but I'm just wondering that, if they both shoot perfect shots and they're both going to hit the spider, one gets a gust of wind and one doesn't, but it's the same for both of them, I guess, is where you're coming from.
And
exactly
yeah, it's also the wind doesn't necessarily mean that you won't hit the exact middle, because if you're very good at judging wind, then you can also shoot it onto the spider in the wind. So it doesn't always have to mean that it's a lottery. But I get your point.
Have you ever considered a future career as a negotiator? I think you would be very good at it now that you've retired from competitive archery. Always looking at the other side of the coin.
I have been known to mediate a bit.
I bet you have. I bet you have. You're listening to the expert opinion of two-time Olympic semi-finalist Chef van den Berg from the Netherlands. with his Dutch angle on all of the archery here at the European Grand Prix. We are going into a shoot-off between Chiara Rebigliati of Italy and Caroline Lopez of France for this recurve women's gold medal here in Plovdiv. All important title up for grabs. Target faces have been replaced, and we go into a one-arrow shoot-off. Closest to the center wins. Rebigliati with her shoot-off arrow. High left 9. So chances here for Lopez. Well, that's a high left 9 as well, but it's further out, and I don't think, Chef, we need to wait for the judge here. Rebigliati's got this, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think we can say with confidence that she's won the shoot-off.
A brilliant matchup, though, between these two. Rebigliati getting away, running away with the lead in the second. Lopez clawing herself back on level terms in the third, taking the lead in the fourth, to then drop a 6th in the 5th and force the shoot-off. And Rebigliati of Italy has taken the gold medal at the European Grand Prix here in Plovdiv. Well, there was not much pomp and circumstance at the end of that one. The athletes walking off. A good experience for the pair of them. Lopez perhaps disappointed, but the 18-year-old has really put her mark on the archery world in the last year or so. She is here to make a difference as we look at the run-in to Paris 2024. But the honours go to Chiara Rebigliati of Italy, who's taken the the recurve women's gold medal here in Plovdiv. So one more match to go here at this Grand Prix. We'll wait for the coaches, judges, athletes to come out for the recurve men's competition. Go and look down the 70-meter range, shooting line down to the targets.
It is now time, ladies and gentlemen,
And as you can hear,
to welcome
we're about ready to welcome everyone out for the last of the action here in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. Let's go down for the introduction of the athletes here for the recurve men's gold medal match.
On target 1, representing the Netherlands, Willem Bakker. On target 2, representing Luxembourg, Jacques Henkels. Line judge, Aurel Robben. Target judge, Yuri Yogev. First to shoot.
Well, here we go.
Jacques
The recurve men's
Henkels
gold medal
on
match between the
target
21-year-old unranked Willem Bakker of the Netherlands up against the 37-year-old Jeff Henkels of Luxembourg, who is the world number 60. So first question, Chef, can you remain impartial here?
I think I can. He, even though Willem is from the Netherlands, he's not a former teammate of mine. He has always been more of a field archer, which is a bit of a different discipline. But he's always been a force to reckon with in the national competitions.
Well, Henkels gets the match underway with an 8.
recovers well with a 10. You could see the trembling in his shot, and I think it's a bit of nerves, but yeah, he's not phased, or he can manage with it or deal with it, since he shot it almost straight down the middle.
Well, a 9 to level up, a 10 for the 2 points. And it is a 9, so they're all square after the first, and are tied up at 1 apiece. Back at, like I say, is 21 years old, unranked, and as Chef said, has field medals, and in fact has indoor medals as well, but this is his first outdoor medal. Jeff Henkels, at 37 years old, is a 3-time Olympian. 2000.
He's a bit more experienced.
Yeah, a little bit more experienced. But if you look back to 2000, 22 years ago, he was the World Youth Bronze medalist, having a little bit of a return to form here in Plovdiv.
Yeah, Jeff has just stuck around. I know that he's dealt with some injuries over the last couple of years, but yeah, he always is able to, show some sort of form, and it's interesting to see how well he's been doing for such a long time. Like you said, in 2000, if I am not mistaken, he was already internationally active. And 22 years later, he's still in the final of a European Grand Prix. So that's something that I commend.
Yeah, 3-time Olympian as well. There's nothing you can say other than that. It is fantastic. 3 times qualifying for the Olympic Games. And here he is, Jeff Henkels, 1 apiece with Willem Bakker, shooting first at the start of the second set.
I was about to say that Jeff is also known for some bow kwando if it's necessary, and he just proved it when I was about to say it.
Well, he gave you an opportunity to say it. That's the way that I look at it, Chef. See, I'm learning off you. There's 2 sides to everything.
There you go. I think his side must have dipped under the gold, because that was a typical reaction for a low shot. Willem looks more steady than in the first end, but ironically he's not hitting as steady, but it's at least a good sign that he's calming down a bit. Ooh.
He definitely swung that one across, but he didn't do enough, did he, to that one? A 26. Needs a 10 for the points. Gets a 10 for the points. Well, what a turnaround there from Willem Bakker. Yeah, you said you'd be impartial. It's easy to be impartial here. There was an opportunity, but he needed a 10, and that's only his second 10 of the match.
Yeah, it's only his second, but it's a very important one.
And anything in particular you saw about that third shot from Henkels? That you could see him, as you were saying, bow kwondoing it, moving the hand across to try and guide the arrow across to the right.
I suspect that he was aiming in the middle quite comfortably, and then right at the last moment of his shot, the wind blew his side to the left, and then he had to correct after. But it was a bit on the late side. That's what it looked like from my side.
And look, you've got great experience in this particular discipline. How much can you affect the arrow once you've released it?
Surprisingly much. So it's not only the left hand that you can use, but an experienced archer can also alter the release to make the arrow go a certain way, or use your whole body essentially. You can do a lot of things with the arrow. And with your bow to make the arrow change direction in the shot. So not after the shot, obviously, as the arrow is left, but in the shot there are some things you can do. But it's mostly down to intuition, and it's difficult to to teach something like that or to learn it. It's more just doing it, and yeah, you get to develop a sense for it.
9.
Well, Jeff Henkel's trailing starts the third set with a 9. He needs all the experience and intuition of his 37 years because he trails against Willem Bakker. Wow.
Yeah, you could see there how the wind was affecting his shot, and he tried to force it into the middle, but maybe a bit too forceful.
9.
And there it was quite clear that there was too much movement in the last couple of millimeters in pulling it through the clicker. He was falling backwards, and his bow shoulder was just not stable enough to keep it in place.
Yeah, but an 8 there for another 26 means Bakker can share the points here with another 10. He did it in the last set.
It was a much better shot.
Not enough, though. A 25 means that we will be all square at 3 set points apiece after 3 sets. And we go into a fourth with this one very, very finely poised. It can't be done in 4. It has to go through to a 5th set here. But there's moments here from both of the archers where it's almost like there's a lapse of concentration. I don't really know how to explain it. So, Chef, that's why you're here. Explain why there are these moments of, where there's opportunities.
I think it all comes down to the gusty wind that we're seeing. You can, if you just take a look in the background, you can see the ribbons and everything. Everything is fluttering in the wind, and gusty wind makes for interesting matches. is what I would say, and it makes for interesting shooting. So you might be in a bit of a calm moment. You might be shooting really relaxed, and then suddenly caught off guard by a gust of wind, and then. Yeah, like you saw with the left 7, I think, of Jeff. I think that was just, he felt like he had a window to shoot in, and then at the last moment of his shot, got blown off of the middle. And it's, that's just what happens in these circumstances. So I don't think it's necessarily down to concentration, but more of the elements playing a role in this match.
Well, the elements have been playing a role. It's Jeff Henkel's to get set number 4 underway. We're all square at 3 apiece. He was not happy with that one. You could see it straight away.
I'm actually surprised that that's still hit an 8. But that's what I said. Jeff knows what to do, how to get the arrow still to hit okay with a terrible shot, frankly.
Well, Bakker couldn't do any better. So Henkel's back on the line and back in the yellow or the gold. "21-year-old. Eyes on the target, eyes on the prize, hits the line. It looks to be a 10. Not called in venue. Listen to the wind.
Ooh. That's a costly arrow.
A 24 here. Easily gettable.
Ooh. It was also not a great shot, but he manages to keep it in the gold. I think Willem, he looks quite nervous. This is obviously one of his first high-profile finals in a target competition. And you can see that he's shaking, and if he manages to keep the shaking under control enough, he shoots really good shots. But there's some shots that it's just a little too much, and he loses tension in the release, and that makes the arrows go outside of the middle. But yeah, honestly, both of the archers are, I wouldn't say making mistakes, but shooting arrows that are not hitting. So yeah, it's an interesting match to watch.
It really is a very interesting match to watch, and it's Bakker who's leading, and like you say, it's it's a first high profile. It'll be his first outdoor individual medal in a big competition, in a senior international. He hasn't got a world ranking outdoors at the moment. He'll certainly have one today. But Henkels, you can't write him off, can you? I mean, he's got all that experience. Yes, he's dropped a couple of sevens in this match, but he's only 2 behind. We've got 1 set to go. Can he draw level?
Let's see. I mean, if anyone can do it, Jeff can do it.
Well, he's going to shoot first at the start of the 5th set. A lot of archers say shooting first when you're trailing is an advantage because you can put some pressure on, and that's what the man from Luxembourg has to do.
9.
It's high, just clipped onto the 9. Bakker just needs to match Henkels here in this set to take the gold.
9.
That's exactly what he's done. Oh, listen to the wind.
Yeah, you could just see his bow moving all around, and you can see the disappointment in his face, thinking, why am I getting this wind during my shot? But I think Willem is also getting wind. He's just also hitting 7. But you can see Willem has a lot of muscle tension in his arm, where Jeff is more using a bone-to-bone kind of style. And the tension in the muscles of Willem might be the thing helping him to keep it steady.
Well, a 10 here will do it for Bakker. If he can get a 10, he'll share the points. Oh, it's so close as well. He doesn't quite get the 10 he needs. It's a 25 for him. And after 5 sets, yet again, we have another shoot-off here in Plovdiv. We have to wait, obviously, for the scores to be confirmed. But that was so close for the Dutch archer to securing the 1 point he needed to get the gold medal. He was millimeters away from that 10 line.
Yeah, and those millimeters on 70 meter are fractions of millimeters on the line. So he was not far off, but we get to see another shoot-off. So I'm I'm just happy to be here.
What a way to spend a weekend afternoon here, watching this amazing sport take place in front of you. The contrast between these two archers, youth versus experience. Henkels, with the experience, has dropped a couple of 7s, but somehow has fought his way back to a 5-5 tiebreaker shoot-off against the youngster who's here for his first senior medal outdoors in an international tournament at the European Grand Prix of 2022 in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. Target faces being cleaned. We're getting fresh target faces put onto the target 70 meters down the range, and they all shoot 1 arrow each to decide who will take the title here in Bulgaria. Chef, 1 word, who's going to take it?
My Dutch heart is taking over. I'm not supposed to be rooting for anyone, but somebody wearing an orange shirt is always going to get me.
Okay, well, in that case, just to balance things out so that we are impartial between us, I'm going to back Henkels here with all the experience that he has. It is an incredible matchup to finish the event here in Plovdiv. The archers have thoroughly enjoyed this competition. They've told us that it's been a wonderful experience. And the wind, again, in a stadium environment, swirling around, giving us all the entertainment that we can ask for. A 1 arrow shoot-off to conclude things here in Bulgaria. It's Willem Bakker of the Netherlands going up against Jeff Henkels of Luxembourg. Closest to the centre for the last title here at the European Grand Prix. Into the 9, high right. There's room here. Willem Bakker just needs to get closer for the title. And it's in the 10, and Willem Bakker of the Netherlands has taken the Recurve men's gold medal here at the first leg of the European Grand Prix of 2022 in Plovdiv, Bulgaria. Well, Chef, what a matchup that was, and you know, for the neutral, I know that you were backing your man in orange at the end there, but for the neutral, what a matchup! Youth versus experience, and in this instance, it's youth that's won.
Yeah, it was such a good match to watch. I think in some instances it's nice to have a match in perfect conditions because you'll get to see really high scores. But these are also interesting to see that it can also just pay off to, you know, it's more of a battle of wills when the wind is blowing like this. You need to really give it all your best.
Well, a great performance from the pair of them here in this arena in Plovdiv. Jeff Henkel's showing he's still got it at 37 years old, collects the silver medal, but it's the 21-year-old Willem Bakker collecting his first ever outdoor medal in an international tournament for archery in the recurve men's discipline, and it's a gold medal at that. I think we are going to see more of this young man in the future. And hopefully we're going to get to hear from both the gold medalists, Chiara Rebigliati and Willem Bakker of the Netherlands. Before we get to that, though, Chef, your highlight, let me guess, it's Willem Bakker taking gold?
Yeah, how good is it to see a fellow countryman shoot a 10 in a shoot-off to clinch the gold? I mean, it's hard to pick another moment.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you back in the commentary box here today in Plovdiv. We always enjoy your insight to this wonderful sport, and the fact that you were able to give us your time is brilliant. Let's go down for the interviews.
How are you feeling right now?
I'm really happy because after the gold medal match of yesterday with team, we won, and this for me was very important for today to do the best in the match. And there was a little bit of more respect yesterday, but the feeling was really good, and I'm really happy because this is the first competition of the season, and I hope will be a great season for me. So really good.
It was very windy today. What were you thinking during the shoot-off with the wind?
The coach helped me during the match, said me where the windy round, and so I try to do the best during arrow by arrow. So I take a gold medal, but I did a good job.
Yes, you did. So how important is this win for you for the rest of the season and everything?
It's very important because in the target competition for me is the first individual podium after other in field competition or in World Cup with a team. So I'm very happy because double medal in 2 days is very important for me, and it's a good way to start the season.
Congratulations on your both wins. Thank you very much. Congratulations. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty great. The last shot was truly amazing. So yeah, it's awesome. Thanks.
It was pretty windy today, but during the shoot-off, you knew that you had to shoot at 10. How were you thinking? What were you thinking at that time?
Honestly, I was just staying on appointment and just doing my own thing, just keeping myself in my own routine, my own problems to solve, and just do my thing.
I think that's what's the most important. So how important is this win for you and the rest of your season?
Truly, this is an amazing win, mostly because I've been really trying the past couple of years to try to move towards the outdoor field. And I think I've proven now that I'm a serious contender to the field, to the outdoor field.
Yes, you did. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, two amazing interviews there. Very contrasting, very confident and buoyant backer. Rebediati saying, I'm looking forward to the season, really happy with the start. It's been a brilliant tournament here in Plovdiv, Bulgaria, the European Grand Prix first leg of 2022. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back for stage 2 of the Hyundai Archery World Cup in Gwangju in 2 weeks.